Hello and welcome to the HTech Web Development Bootcamp. In this video, we'll be looking at what is HTML. So what is HTML? HTML is known as Hypertext Markup Language. It is not a programming language, but it's a markup language for creating web pages and documents. That means it is the building block of the web because it actually describes the structure of a web page. Now HTML consists of series of elements, and these elements tell the browser how to display the contents. The elements label pieces of content such as this is a heading, as you can see in quotes, this is a paragraph, as you can see in quotes, and this is a link. So we have different elements for different things. Like a paragraph has its elements, a container like a div and span. We also have headings, we have images, we have different elements for different things, for buttons and the rest. Now we're going to look at how to create our first HTML file, creating an HTML file. Now when creating an HTML file, we actually do not need a server to do that, but our files must end with a .html extension. Now this file is going to run in a web browser, so for we to open this file to actually see what we've created, the markup, we will need a browser like Chrome or Firefox. And one thing we should know that the index.html is always the root or the home page of the website by default. To create an HTML file, I'll click anywhere on my desktop, or right click and create a new folder. This folder will enable me arrange my files all together. So I come to new and I go to folder. This folder, I can name it any name. Let's say for example I name it HTML. Good. Now that I've successfully created this folder, I'm going to open my VS Code. Now when I open my VS Code, I would create the new file in the VS Code. Now I can do this by coming to new file to create new file, but I have to check for the folder. So I open folder and then down on my desktop search for HTML, I select it and I select the folder. Now it has opened, so I can close this panel and come to this Explorer tab. In this Explorer tab, I'll come here which says new file and I click on it and I'll provide the name of the file. Normally the root or the home page of our website, we usually call it index.html, so I will just type index.html. This is the root or the home page of my website. Now if I close or I minimize this VS Code and I go to the folder, I'm going to see this file, which is this index here, but we're not seeing index.html, we're just seeing index. Now the file extension is hidden. Then how can I see the file extension? I could do this by coming to the search and type folder option. And I see File Explorer option. I click on it. Now here it has opened the File Explorer option tab. I'm going to click on View and I come down to this place that says Hide Extensions for Known File Types. I'm going to uncheck that box, then I click Apply and I click OK. When I do that, you see the file as open to index.html, so the extension that was hidden before, we can now see it. Now if we go back to our VS Code, we can now type HTML code here. Now the first thing we're going to do is to tell our browser that this document is an HTML5 document. So I'll type in angle brackets and then exclamation, and VS Code has seen it, and I'll press tab. So this is just a declaration that this is an HTML5 document. Prior to this time, we're using HTML4 and XHTML, but the declaration is more longer than this. So HTML5 has just made it simple for you to just type doctype HTML to declare that this is an HTML5 document. The next thing to do is to use the HTML element. I'll type HTML and then I press tab. So this is the first element to type when you're working with HTML documents, when you're working with an HTML document. And the next thing for me to do now is to type in my head and my body. So HTML uses head and body. The head just gives information to the browser, while the body actually displays the content of the web page. So I'm going to type my head, I press tab, and then I come down, I'll type in my body, press tab. Now in the head, it gives information to the browser like the title of the web page. So I'll type in title and I press tab. Let's say I name this file my first web page. If I save this file and I go back to my desktop to open these documents, I should see in my browser at the top that says here my first web page. Now let's go back to VS Code and see another shorter method for opening our website. It's called using live server. So I'll right click on this web page and then I'll open with live server. When I do this, it's going to start the live server and then it's opened the other page. Now this live server will enable our web pages to reload itself instead of we reloading the web page. We're going to try this in two different examples, but before then, you can see here 127.0.0.1. this actually represents our local computer. So our local computer is acting as a server and then is reading from the ports 5500 and it's locating the file index.html. Now we said HTML uses elements. Now let's take an example of elements for heading. If I come here and I said that everything to be displayed on the web page will be written in the body, so I'll provide a heading, and heading uses the tag h1 to h6. I'll just press h1 and I press tab. But if I go back, when we press h1, you see that when we press h, you see that the VS Code actually brought out so many suggestions. So I'll click on h1 and say this is heading 1. This is heading 1. If I save and then I come to the browser, you already see this is heading 1 because we don't have to reload this browser to get documents, on the web. Live server is helping us to reload it, but if I come to this first page, it is not reload. I will have to reload it by refreshing the browser. So that's what live server does for us. Let's take some other examples of elements, like a paragraph. P is used for paragraph. P. And I said this is a paragraph. And I click save by pressing Ctrl S. If I go to my browser, this is a paragraph. It's already done here where we use our local server, but without local server it is not refreshed. I'll have to refresh it myself. So that is basic HTML file, and we've successfully created our first HTML file. If you don't have live server installed in your VS Code, no problem, I'm going to show you in a moment. Live server is an extension. So you come down to this tab where you have extensions and you click on it. When you click on it, it will bring out so many extensions, but we're going to type in live server. So we see it here, live server by Ritwik Dev. So I'll click on it. Now I already have my live server installed, but if you're doing it for the first time, you'll see an install button here, so you click on it, and when you click on it, you will see that live server will be installed. Now let me close this live server. When you install live server successfully, you're going to have this button that says go live or click to run live server. That is how you install the live server extension. Having successfully installed the live server, nevertheless, we also have other extensions that are useful in VS Code. Like for formatting our codes, we have extensions like Prettier. Prettier is used for formatting our code. So you can come here and then install Prettier. You can just click on install. You can see it's a code formatter and it's going to install. You can also search for ESLint. ESLint here is Prettier ESLint. It is also used for formatting our codes, but gives us better format for JavaScript. There are also other ones like Beautify. Okay, you can see I have Beautify already installed in my VS Code. So you could come here and then search for extensions that will make the web development process for you easy. In the next video, we'll be looking more details in HTML.